Okay, we're good to go. So let's give Nicolas, the man who makes companies obsolete, a warm welcome. Woo!
Okay. Today, it will not be a talk about BTCPay server per se, but it's a talk about a piece of infrastructure that everybody that is using BTCPay server is actually using under the hood, and that is, I think, underappreciated because it's doing a lot of, I would say, plumbing. Yeah, this talk is more for developers. And I want to present you, NBXplorer, like everybody here that uses BTCPay use it. And what it is, how to use it, why it's better than anything else. Like it's also kind of technical training for my BTCPay team that is here as well. So it's a good opportunity. NBXplorer is created by Digilab. It's one of the company I'm working on in Tokyo. I'm also co-founder of Metaco, and I did BTCPay Server. You can call me Emperor. It's my nickname there. And I created NBXplorer and Bitcoin. NBXplorer is a library in C# for coding on Bitcoin. And I really love Bitcoin and I love C#. So a small summary of the history of BTCPay Server. It's actually first, like in February 2017, we had a conference in Tokyo organized by Digilab that was around Bitcoin and also Elements. So Elements it's kind of like Liquid if you want. And we did a multi-asset wallet on top of Liquid, and we were using that. I built something that was called NBXplorer. And once the conference is gone, like I'm not too much into I would say shitcoins, and I don't like coding stuff that after tech dust and is neglected, and so I wanted kind of recycle my work on NBXplorer that was very useful, I thought. And I forked it to create NBXplorer, which was only for Bitcoin. So UTXO tracker and wallet management for Bitcoin. And I forked it around the same time when I announced BTCPay server, so it was in August. NBXplorer has always been used as the solution to track UTXO and manage the wallet of the user of BTCPay servers. And it works well, like for several years, no problem, like always incremental change. And at one point, like we reach in April or something, or a bit before, they start to have big merchants using BTCPay server. So they have, like, for example, 100,000 UTXOs and like maybe 500,000 transactions and maybe millions of addresses. And NBXplorer like starting to crawl a little bit at this time. So I did a major refactoring in April to introduce a Postgre backend for NBXplorer. Most of you don't know it, but when you updated BTCPay server, automatically you were adopted with this new Postgre backend. And I will a bit explain everything that NBXplorer does and why this backend is very important, I think, for lots of people. So a bit of map, like NBXplorer is communicating with Bitcoin Core on top of RPC and peer-to-peer layer. And I advise to use NBXplorer for people that have some generic Bitcoin business and that are not specific to commerce. If you already have a commerce, I advise you to just use the API of BTCPay server. It's like more high level, easier to use in some case. But NBXplorer provides lots of flexibility and in general can adapt to lots of, I think, to any business case that you have of Bitcoin. So yeah, and you use NBXplorer using a JSON API, or I'm advising as well directly query on SQL tables because there is lots of views and stuff like this to make your life happy, and it's way faster than using the server. So why other solutions are terrible? So back in 2017, now it's maybe the situation is a bit improved, but not very much. I did some projects based directly on Bitcoin Core wallets. And there was lots of problem with it. So in Bitcoin Core, there was very bad support for read-only wallets. There was no concept of XPub or descriptor outputs that exist now. And when you are a merchant, like you need to handle lots of addresses, so it was very impractical to use a Bitcoin Core API, so I could not use that directly. And I searched other solutions, like there was Electrum, for example, but Electrum require, for example, that you need to sync from the beginning of time. There was Electrum Personal Server, but Electrum Personal Server was supporting only one XPub. So it means that you could have only one merchant on your BTCPay server, so it was not really nice. Every time you wanted a restore, you needed to do a full blockchain rescan. That is very expensive to do. And I wanted as well to improve that. When there was too many transactions, it was not scaling. The other solution was not scaling at all. It was a complete disaster. And for shitcoin support, so shitcoin support was always working in kind of fork of projects. And every time there was different version and like you could not support many things. I don't like shitcoin, but sometimes I need to do some integration for that. And the last thing I wanted to do is lose my time on that. And it was not in C#. I really like C#, so that's a big reason for me. Need syncing and bad BIP32 support. So there was no really HG wallet support in any solution. Even right now in Electrum, like you need to transmit address directly. Like it doesn't scale. If you have 1 million address, you connect to the server, or to do balance, you send the 1 million address. It doesn't really scale that much. So yeah, all of those solutions make me like create NBXplorer. And so why NBXplorer is awesome? So it's native BIP32. So you can track individual addresses if you want, but I'm not pushing it. You can create easily your own wallet from your seed or stuff like this. It's the backend is in Postgre. It's really lots of the logic of NBXplorer is actually contained inside triggers and stored procedure inside Postgre, so it's very efficient. And you can use it directly. I will go into the detail a bit later. There is an easy-to-use JSON API. It's a bit less flexible, but it does a lot. It works fine with millions of addresses. With 200K UTXO, I tested it. It works. If you need to support shitcoin on a single server, you can do. We support Liquid as well, multiple assets. It's multi-tenant, so you can have multiple wallets on a single server. And when you restore, you want to do a restore of balance, you don't have to do a full UTXO check. We are doing a UTXO, scan UTXO set on Bitcoin Core to restore the balance and everything, so it's very light. So NBXplorer has been in prod since 2017, so long time. A few exchanges use it. Every people that use BTCPay server use it, and I use it. So when I use it, it means that I have some incentive to not screw things up, and yeah, you can rely on it. So the way it works basically is, as far as the API is concerned, you do a track XPub. So actually, it's not an XPub. It's kind of a descriptor. It's a output descriptor, but in our own format, because when I did NBXplorer, output descriptor were not existing. So we have my own like kind of descriptor that exists for very simple case like multisig, taproot, and very like standard scripts. And then from this, then you can NBXplorer will start listening your wallet, and then you can create PSBT. You can get the transaction history. You can get the UTXO, rescan the UTXO set. So imagine that your wallet receives some money, and then you start tracking it. NBXplorer don't know automatically that there is some money on it. So if you, in this situation, you can rescan the UTXO set, then you can get the balance, like everything that business wants in general. And very important, like you can do that via the API, but I also highly recommend you to use lots of views and tables that are available. I will go deep dive a bit in the schema later, but it's very obvious schema to use, very simple. It's a bit denormalized because in Bitcoin we do a few writes, but lots of read. So I did lots of denormalization on the table, and I will show you how it goes. So really, NBXplorer is really divided into two parts. it's like one part there is a Postgre and one part there is an indexer. And actually they are quite independent. So really for the most hardcore of you, if you don't like C#, you can really get rid of the indexer part and try to do your own indexer. Like Postgre is handling lots of logic. For example, transaction matching and everything. So for example, Postgre maintains a UTXO set of each wallet. It maintains the current gap count of descriptors. So like your indexer can query it and see, okay, now I need to derive more address to track. And it exposes lots of very performance SQL views that is useful for anything that you build on top. The indexer is kind of very easy in the sense that only thing you need to do is like to handle the address derivation logic. So as far as Postgre is concerned, it doesn't know anything about derivation, but it knows about the concept of descriptors and descriptor script. So it's basically the indexer that inserts those scripts inside this table. When the indexer need to, when there is a new block to insert inside Postgre, and every time there is transactional block, also like the indexer is inserting that into Postgre, and it exposes an API on top of the SQL. So everything that the API can do, in general, you can do it directly by querying the table by yourself if you want. So the logic of the indexer is quite light in a sense. And everything that is transaction matching, like input matching, output matching, conflict resolution, it's all handled inside Postgre. So it's very performance. So yeah, you can just replace NBXplorer indexer and just use the Postgre layer if you really want to do your own stuff. Typical index flow. So once again, the indexer receives a block, insert the block in the table, parse a list of input-output, call fetch match. It's a stored procedure with all the ints outs, and then it turns the block confirming to true. Between 4 and 5, I didn't put it in the slide, but there is some temporary table you can query to get all the match that happen when you call the fetch matches. For example, to make some notification of you have WebSocket or stuff like this. So it's very easy from the indexer perspective. And as I said, the other thing that the indexers do is like creating new wallets, inserting like descriptor in the table, inserting like script descriptor in the table, and derivating address. And one wallet can have multiple descriptors, and one wallet can have multiple wallets inside. I would go inside the day, but it's kind of very flexible way. So I will go in the design of the table just to show you it's very simple and you can do your query directly on it, nothing special. So everything that you see like that is like surrounded here, it's actually column that you don't have to care about because triggers inside BTC, NBXplorer is filling up the data of those automatically. So really what you have to care is something very simple. So for example, we have the descriptors table and descriptors script. Code is, for example, BTC. If you want only BTC, you don't care about the rest, it's always BTC. Descriptor, it's kind of very meta in the sense that it's always the indexer, the layer above that decide what a descriptor means at the end. And you have the descriptor script table where you insert, you say, okay, this script is derived from this descriptor and you insert inside, so it's very easy. Then, the concept of wallet in NBXplorer is also very simple. One wallet can have multiple wallets inside. So there's a kind of, you can do a kind of hierarchy. So imagine that you're a corporate with several subsidiaries. Maybe each subsidiary have their own wallet. And if you want to have a corporate view of all the wallets, you can create one wallet at the corporate level and inserting all the child wallets inside. And so you have a way to query the balance of the whole corporation in one request. One wallet can have several descriptors. So typical case is, for example, like all the deposit addresses, the change addresses. For example, there is 2 descriptors in most wallets. And you can also insert loose scripts. So for example, if you say, okay, this address, I have the private key of this address, and I want to insert it in this wallet, you can do it directly without using the descriptor concept if you want. So it's very flexible. And here you cannot really read, but it's not really important. In the table, you will see there is all the concept that everybody are very accustomed to. It's like the concept of block transactions. So one block can have several transactions. One block can have a certain age, has a previous hash. Like really, like there is nothing magic here. There is nothing to explain for any Bitcoiners that are accustomed to this concept. The only thing I want to mention is that all those, like I said, all those text column here, they are handled automatically because it's kind of denormalization. So in Bitcoin, like I said, we do very few inserts, but we query very often. So I needed to make a bunch of triggers. So like information are denormalized in several tables so that the queries are faster. But the nice thing is, one more time, is that you don't have to really care. It's like triggers that is propagating these changes. And so yeah, there is a concept of script. Like nothing new for anybody that worked for Bitcoin for enough time. So here is an example of request you can do, a very like use request. Imagine that you want all the UTXO of a certain wallet. So I forgot to filter on a specific wallet ID. But it's basically, so this will filter all the UTXO wallet that are not being spent currently. And immature, for those who don't know, is that when you mine a new block, if you are a miner, you mine a new block and you have a reward, your UTXO is immature. So you need to wait like 100 blocks or something like this to be usable. So this is a kind of request that you can do easily to, okay, what are the UTXO that are not used right now and I want to, for building my PSBT or whatever. And the column it return is very easy, like for each UTXO, which block, how much confirmation there is, no, not here, if it's in the mempool or not, if it has been replaced, for example, if there is two conflicting transactions in the mempool, you will see it here. Like very simple stuff. Asset ID is only if you are using a liquid typically. So you don't even have to really care if you only care about Bitcoin. So it's really traditional stuff. And once again, it's like pure SQL, so you can really do your join with other table that as you need to if there is not enough information for you. Also something that you want to know, for example, the wallet balance on your server. You can get the unconfirmed balance, confirmed balance, any balance that you want, and do your join or everything like this. There is lots of different view. Like there is a documentation, so I will redirect you to the documentation for that. But suffice to say that I encourage you to get use of all those very simple way of querying the states. So I wanted to do a demo, but I cannot plug my PC. It was very simple. I wanted to show you live some SQL requests, but anyway, I don't have time. But yeah, it's not very important. If you want more information about this, so it was really an overview because I don't have lots of time. But I think lots of projects really need this kind of trackers. And most projects right now are doing their own because there was never any solution that was easy to use. And NBXplorer, I never talk too much about it. Like I said, it's really plumbing. Most people don't really care. Only developers care in general. But it's really solving a recurring problem and used by lots of people and scalable in a sense that even if your wallet is very big, you won't have problems. Even if you are an exchange, you won't have problems. And it's relying on Postgres. So like if you have DBA in your business, they can very well, do some replication wizard stuff that DBA admin know, and you can leverage the skills that you have inside your business. So that's pretty cool. And you can do report or stuff like this because it's pure SQL at the end of the day. So it's very easy for everyone. If you're interested, you go to GitHub Garage NBXplorer. So there is inside there is a doc. I document every views and every table. So I advise you to take a look there. If you want questions, the best is to go on chatbtcpayserver.org. It's where I hang around. So in the support chat, I think I would just create a channel for NBXplorer for those interested. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Nicolas. We have time for 2-3 questions.
Is there any question?
Yep. Giacomo.
I'm not sure it's not a stupid question, but if people start to really use the TapScript part of Taproot, would you have to change? Because like your table are like keeping scripts as part of the data, but we will probably have to process leaves separately or stuff like that. How difficult will it be to update this kind of structure for complex Taproot kind of interactions?
Okay, so at the database level, the database don't care anything about derivation. So it's really a question of putting descriptor. It's a generic term. The database don't know what the descriptor is, but you can put whatever you want. And then the indexer that is built on top of the database also inserts the scripts. And like if you are your own need like this, so right now, for example, NBXplorer support Taproot, but only the simple case of 1 sig. And I will add some feature to support more complex case, but right now it's not done. So if you really want your own stuff, I will advise you to do maybe your own indexer for now, or just feature request me. And one thing is like it's still SQL, so nothing prevents you really to add your own table that link to other table of NBXplorer. I don't expect the schema to change very much, so I don't think you will have problems when migrating. So yeah, for now it's not dealt with, but you can do your own and also ask me if you have clear idea on what you want to do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You said you support reorgs, but do you remove all the stale blocks and all the related data to those blocks, or
no.
Do you keep them?
I don't do any deletes, so there is a flag that is for blocks is confirmed. So you can put in false or true. If you are the indexer and you want to make a reorg, you just have to put this flag to false, and automatically there is a triggers that will automatically propagate that to all the other tables, so that you always have the wallet UTXOs that you expect to. Yeah.
Last question.
How much disk space roughly would this occupy? I guess a lot more than the.
Yeah, so not almost nothing. It depends on the usage. So that's the good things. Like lots of Explorer right now require a full indexing and require lots of space. When I did NBXplorer, I was envisioning that BTCPay server will be used on very small device with very small capacity. So NBXplorer doesn't index anything that it doesn't need. So what will be in the table is really like what you are tracking, and that's it.
I see. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nicolas.
Thank you.
It's lunch break, so we're gonna go back to normal schedule now. So we'll be back at 10 minutes past 3. Even I'll try to start a little bit earlier because we know how it is later on. So yeah, see you here around 5 minutes past 3, and let's all grab something to eat now.